Hi, I'm Marvin Jordan, and today I'm going to be asking some students about sustainability and to see if students really know what they're eating. So let's get to it at CSUN. Follow me.
Hello.
Do you buy food when you're on campus?
Yeah, I do.
What do you typically get?
Like chips or candy, something that's quick and easy.
Wow. Are you aware that you might be eating unsustainable food sources?
No, I don't know what that is.
So you may be asking, what exactly is an unsustainable food source? So there's actually 3 or about 2 in total that cause unsustainable food sources. One of them being corn, and that leads into high fructose corn syrup, and also factory farmed beef. So high fructose corn syrup or corn is actually one of or the biggest leading cause in unsustainable food sources. Almost 12% of corn is manufactured for high fructose corn syrup, and due to an increasing demand, growing corn is now meant more for yield rather than sustainability. High fructose corn syrup is used in almost every single food that you eat, especially if it's prepackaged. It's almost like a sugar, and it's the leading cause to obesity. It depletes the nutrient corn, and high fructose corn syrup deplete the nutrients in the soil and is used 33% more than any other farming practice.
Hi.
I have a boyfriend.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That's great, because I wasn't interested in him. So what type of foods do you usually get when you're here?
Well, usually I'll eat outside of campus and I'll go to Starbucks or something, but when I'm on campus, I'll go to Juice It Up.
Are you aware that you may be eating an unsustainable food source?
When I get a Juice It Up, I get a smoothie with fruits, and that's sustainable, right?
88% of the corn that you eat is genetically modified. So that leads into factory farmed beefing or factory farmed beef. So they operate in what's called a concentrated animal feeding operation, which leads to the biggest air pollutants. So what they do is they put your beef or your chicken or your pigs into these small individual cages, and the only purpose of them being alive is to literally feed them, and all they feed them is corn, which is not food at all that they can digest. This causes to diarrhea, a lot of gas, and that ends up being released into the air, which is a lot of carbon monoxide, which leads to greenhouse gases. Their feces runs into rivers and lakes, as well as parts of the ocean, because it can't be digested properly, and leads to massive dead zones in those areas.
How's it going?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
All right. Do you usually eat on campus?
Sometimes. Usually I bring stuff from home, but I do go to the markets every now and then.
What do you usually get?
If I do buy stuff, I usually get like chips or like a candy bar, like stuff that's easy.
Right. So are you aware of the unsustainable food sources? And do you even know what that is?
No. I mean, isn't food just food?
No.
So if you want to stop unsustainable food sources, then you need to either lower how much high fructose corn syrup you eat in your prepackaged foods, as well as if you do like to eat meat, eating things that are organic or grass-fed animals rather than those that are made with factory farm beef.
So Gabby, from what you learned today, are you familiar with unsustainable food sources?
Yeah, I think I do.
What is CSUN doing to aid this?
Well, from my understanding, the best way in order to aid unsustainable food sources is to eat conscientiously. So when you go into the mercados here on CSUN's campus, if you look at the price tags on the little labels, it has like circles telling you whether or not something's organic, if it's kosher, if it's vegan. So by eating foods that are either grown locally, unpackaged, or organic are one of the best ways to reduce your carbon footprint. So I know that every time I eat, that I need to be conscious of what I'm eating and how that as a whole affects the planet.
What is an example of an unsustainable food source?
So an example of an unsustainable food source would be McDonald's, because the chemicals in the food is not healthy for the environment. So like if you left a McDonald's burger in your closet for a year, come back to it, it's gonna look the same.
Wow.
And we just put the material, the organic matter in here. So do you see? This is your onion, this is your coffee, this is your coffee filter, these are your lettuce. Maybe this is your broccoli. Yes. Anybody cucumbers?
Oh, that looks like a zucchini.
It's like a zucchini, right? So, avocado skins, right? So what is the story with this? So we just put it in here. We cover this thing with the chips. We water, and the bacteria like the water and the food, and they start breaking it and breaking it and breaking.
Celeste, how was the food garden?
It was a good experience overall. We all had different jobs, and my job in particular was to plant the soil around the flowers and stuff, and to also pull the weeds.
Great. Do you know when it started?
Yeah, so the food garden started around 2010, and by 2012, CSUN wanted to be zero waste. And Mario, the coordinator, explained to us how trash makes CO2 emissions.
Look at this thing. Do you see your avocado here? Do you see anything that you can recognize to eat? No anymore, right? Everything has been broken into pieces.
So one of the best ways in order to help the planet reach a more sustainable level is through our meals. So CSUN is changing the way that we eat and also using the food garden as a resource to change the food that we grow.
Amala, did you enjoy your experience at the food garden?
Yeah, I did. I definitely got a hands-on experience and a better understanding of what our school does in regards to this issue.
So now you heard it here first about unsustainability and resources on campus, and learning is half the battle.